There is somewhat of a controversy brewing over a future scheduling agreement that Ren Baker has established for the West Virginia football program. And in this episode, which is brought to you by BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino and Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner Attorneys at Law, we're going to talk about that scheduling agreement and why some fans are not happy about it. And I'll give you my opinion, and we'll do that right after this word from one of those sponsors.
Since 1931, the attorneys at Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner have been the voice for victims who have suffered serious injury or death. They have a fierce passion for truth and justice and a sincere compassion for those who have been wronged by others. Whether you have been in a car accident, are fighting with an insurance company, or you or a loved one has suffered serious injury or death due to medical negligence, we will ensure your voice is heard loud and clear. Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner will ensure there is justice for all West Virginians because we are your lawyer, your voice. Visit us at yourlawyeryourvoice.com.
What is up? Welcome into another edition of Couz's Corner. I'm your host, Couz. Come on in, make yourself comfortable, belly yourself up to the bar, and let me pour you out this shot of top shelf college football news and analysis. That's what we do around here. We don't serve up bottom shelf or well drinks, only top shelf content here at Couz's Corner. This episode revolves around West Virginia Mountaineers and a future scheduling agreement that Ren Baker has now entered into with none other than the Virginia Cavaliers out of the ACC. For whatever reason, there's been some controversy stirred up online over this. I personally am not that passionate about it one way or the other, but nonetheless, I will give you my initial thoughts on it. Originally, it started with West Virginia canceling a game in 2026 against East Carolina University, a game that had been on the docket for many years. West Virginia was supposed to travel to East Carolina to play the Pirates as part of an agreement that was made many years ago between the schools. Because it doesn't make any money basically for West Virginia, and right now in today's landscape, it's all about earning as much revenue as possible. Because of the House settlement agreement that's coming down the pipeline, where they're going to have to start participating in revenue sharing with their athletes. So schools have to make revenue, and playing East Carolina in their stadium is not making money for West Virginia. Now, it did cost them money because they're having to pay $300,000 to get out of that game. They needed to fill a slot on the schedule. The game was supposed to occur in 2026. What game did they replace it with? They will now be playing the Virginia Cavaliers in a neutral site game in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's called the Duke's Mayo Classic. The game will be played in 2026, and then they will play it again in 2032. So it will be played two times within the next 8 years. Virginia, not really a traditional rival of West Virginia. They have played many times over the course of history, but it's been, I guess the last time they played was in 2002, I think it was, when they played in a bowl game against one another. And unfortunately, Virginia got the best of the Mountaineers in that game. It was Rich Rodriguez's first bowl game with the Mountaineers as head coach. But I'm just going to share with you right now the announcement that the school put out about it, and then I'll give you my opinion. We'll talk about the controversy surrounding it, and then I'll give you my opinion. But it says, with a large and growing Mountaineer fan base in the Charlotte, North Carolina region, West Virginia University Vice President and Director of Athletics Ren Baker has announced that WVU football has added 2 additional games in the Queen City. The Mountaineers will play the Virginia Cavaliers in Charlotte's Bank of America Stadium on September the 19th, 2026, and again on September 4th, 2032. These 2 games are in addition to the previously announced 2028 game against the Tennessee Volunteers in Charlotte. The Charlotte region has a huge amount of WVU alumni, and adding these 2 games allows us to further engage our fans in the region while putting a quality ACC regional opponent on our schedule, Baker said. Our players get to play in a great NFL football stadium, and working with the Charlotte Sports Foundation over the years has proved to be a great partnership, end quote. In adding the 2 games against Virginia, West Virginia has notified East Carolina that it will use this cancellation clause in the contract with the Pirates to cancel the previously scheduled September 19th, 26 game in Greenville, North Carolina. In today's ever-changing landscape of college athletics, the financial aspect of adding these 2 games in Charlotte is far too important for us to pass up, Baker added. Aside from all the positives of playing a neutral site game in Charlotte, we have a fiscal responsibility to our future, and adding these 2 games makes strong financial sense for our department. We have had positive and constructive conversations with our colleagues at East Carolina, and we are committed to helping and working with them to find a replacement for their home game in 2026. Now, talking about the financial piece there, I'm moving away from the article for a second, but talking about that financial piece, according to an article written over at 24/7 Sports, West Virginia is set to make about $3.7 million from these games. They're having to pay $300,000 to get out of the East Carolina game. They're going to more than make it up by playing these neutral site games. So there a lot of revenue can be made with these games. So as far as a revenue perspective, I think it's a good move. He says West Virginia last played Virginia in 2002 when the Cavaliers defeated the Mountaineers 48-22 in the inaugural Continental Tire Bowl in Charlotte. Virginia holds a 12-10-1 advantage all time in the Border Series, and the two teams last met in the regular season in 1985. The 2032 contest will mark the 30th year since that inaugural bowl game, which has gone on to become a successful yearly tradition in Charlotte. The three neutral site games in Charlotte do not affect WVU's future home schedules, as the Mountaineers will continue to play a minimum of 6 home games yearly in Morgantown. Aside from the 2 games against Virginia, Baker also announced that the Mountaineers have added a non-conference home game against Robert Morris on September 15th, 2029. The game with Robert Morris is in addition to the non-conference matchup against the Colonials next season, which was previously announced. We are thrilled to host the Cavaliers and Mountaineers in 2026 and 2032, said Charlotte Sports Foundation Executive Director Danny Morrison. We can't wait to roll out the red carpet for 2 great fan bases and welcome them to the Queen City. So that's the announcement, the full announcement by Wren Baker. Now, before we move on to the part of the show where I talk about the controversy, I'm going to give a quick shout out to my other channel sponsor, and we're talking about our good friends over at BetUS Online Sportsbook. Now, over at BetUS right now, you get a 150% sign-up bonus on your very first deposit with promo code YouTube150. Again, it's YouTube, YOUTUBE 150 at checkout. 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits, up to $2,000. Please play responsibly, and remember, you must be 18 years of age or older to participate. Now, in this next segment, we're going to talk about the controversy. Some fans seem to be unhappy because the game's being played in Charlotte. They think it should be played somewhere else. Maybe the Redskins, or I'm sorry, can't say Redskins anymore, right? Have to be politically correct in today's age. The Commanders played in the Commander Stadium. I can't remember the name of the stadium off the top of my head. I've always known it as RFK Stadium. I don't even know if it's still. I think FedEx Field. I think it is now. I think they should play it at FedEx Field. I don't know. I was under the impression there were a lot of issues the last time the team played at FedEx Field with logistics and travel and parking and all that. So I'm not sure why fans would want to play there. I was at the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte. There were West Virginia fans out the wazoo. West Virginia fans arguably outnumbered North Carolina fans in that game, and it was in the state of North Carolina. So West Virginia fans will show up for this game. I'm a little biased. I live in southern West Virginia. Charlotte is a quick 3-hour drive for me. It's actually closer for me to get to Charlotte than it is to get to Morgantown. So I will more than likely try my best to be at those games. Good Lord's willing. Also, a little bit of controversy is this. We've heard Wren Baker talk about how, and even Neil Brown, who constantly talks about the schedule, we've heard him talk about how they want to get away from playing 2 Power 4 teams in the non-conference slate. Well, in 2026, when this game is now scheduled, the first one, West Virginia also has a game against Alabama on the schedule. Now, according to Mike Ostie, a good friend of the show, I disagree with him on this take, but according to Mike Ostie over at WV Sports Now, that's hypocritical of Wren if they don't get the Alabama series or Alabama games off the schedule, because he'll be doing something that he said he didn't want to do. But my argument to Mike was, Mike, man, making revenue has now become way more important than getting that game off the schedule, in my opinion. And maybe they'll be able to do both. Because we heard Neil Brown mention in a previous press conference that they're trying to fix the schedule for that year, and he made a little sly remark that, hey, Alabama's on the schedule. It's not fixed. There's been talk, some of the media have talked about how they are hearing behind the scenes that West Virginia is trying to get out of that game, out of that series with Alabama. Alabama may even want to get out of it themselves with all the things that are going on with conference realignment, with, the SEC possibly going to 9 conference games and all that, that game may get taken off the schedule anyway. If that's the case, West Virginia can replace it more than likely with another G5 opponent or someone like that, so that they don't have to play those 2 Power 4 teams. And even if they do have to, can they not do it at least 1 year? I mean, is it really that big of a deal to play 2 Power 4s in the non-conference one more time? Just don't do it every year. You know what I'm saying? Doing it one time in 2020, you don't have to do it next year. You get a reprieve from it in 25. If you have to go back to doing it again in 26 and it makes your school and your football program and your athletic department some money in the meantime, then do it. I have no issue with it whatsoever. I know a lot of fans disagree with me. I've been debating some people on social media. I'm actually excited about the Alabama series. Number one, I have some friends that are Alabama fans I'm hoping to meet up with, so I'm biased about it, obviously. But 2, you can make money on that game too. You don't think Mile and Push Car will sell out with Alabama coming to town? I almost guarantee it will. So it'll be interesting to see. I have a feeling that the administration knows that game's going to be coming off the schedule, so therefore they made this move too to get the UVA game added. And let's face it, UVA should be a much easier opponent than Alabama, at least now. Now, who knows what it might look like in 2 years if Alabama takes a slide down, slide backwards, and UVA improves. UVA could end up being a good team in 2026. We'll see. But it's regional. It makes sense. West Virginia fans will travel to the game, especially those of us in the southern part of the state. And you get to play a regional opponent that should hopefully get the fan base excited. I'm not super excited about playing Virginia necessarily. I'm not a huge fan of Virginia. Don't like playing Virginia necessarily. I think they're the wine and cheese crowd. They like to hold their thumb up in the air when they take a drink. That's the type of people I consider Virginia fans, but or even the university more than anything. But it is regional. It is a border state, and maybe they can develop a little rivalry here. The Virginia versus West Virginia. West Virginia broke away from Virginia in 1863, so maybe there's something there that they can create a rivalry with and play more down the road. We will see. I want to hear your thoughts on this so-called controversy. What do you think about it? Personally, I'm not that passionate about it either way. I do expect them to get the Alabama game off the series so that they get the goal of playing only one P4 non-conference and at the same time make money here by playing this neutral site game against Virginia. I want to give a shout-out to my VIP channel members of this episode. They are Dustin Saltz, WVU Fan 13, Okie King, Tax Sprint, and Harry Austin. Thank you all for being paid VIP members here. If you want to be a paid VIP member, hit the join button below or beside my profile picture on my channel homepage. Speaking of Mike Ostie and the guys over at WV Sports Now, I am partnering with them here on the channel. You can get access to their behind-the-scenes content through their platform called The Holler over at WVSportsNow.com. Go to The Holler and sign up, and if you use promo code Couz, C-O-U-Z, at checkout, you'll get a 40% discount on a 1-year membership to The Holler. So make sure to take advantage of that today at WVSportsNow.com, The Holler. You get ad-free content, behind-the-scenes content at WV Sports Now. Want to give another shout-out to my channel sponsors, BetUS Online Sportsbook and Cats, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner. Thank them for helping me keep the lights on. I appreciate you for tuning into the video. Please check this other one out over here on the side in the corner of your screen. You may like it too. Hope the rest of your day's top shelf and Q Country Roads.